All right. Let me put this.
I mean, I don't know if you also want to talk. We kind of talked about this last time. I don't know if you want to talk about the influencer thing, dude, but the influencer thing has gone freaking nuts. Like these, did we talk about this? Had they already like posed on tanks? Or I don't think they had gone, right? When we talked about it, they hadn't gone yet, right? Or did they?
To Israel?
Yeah. Because, bro, that is about to get blown.
I honestly don't know. I don't know.
That one's about to get blown wide open, dude. These idiots were like posing on tanks, and they did all these like crazy propaganda videos in the Gaza Strip saying that the food's not being held back. And there's like 4 of them specifically that are getting absolutely wasted online. Officer Tatum, Cam Higbee, Xavier, and this other chick. But it's so blatantly propaganda. Like, it's insane to watch it, especially Xavier, dude. I'm gonna send you a video. Actually, we should talk about this. We should light this guy up.
Talk about it right now because we're live.
Oh, we're live. All right. Well, here we go.
I had to start the stream to get the link for it.
Yeah, we should light this guy up because this dude is literally, in my opinion, a freaking soulless demon. This is a video that I ripped. Yeah, you're probably better off not knowing who he is. But okay, I'm gonna get that link up. Watch that video I just sent you though while I do this.
All right, let's I don't know, I guess I'll pull this up.
Yeah, you could if you want to just pull it up and watch it.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Creators in Israel, me both in Shaked, and we post a lot of pro-Israel stuff. The comments that we get about free Palestine, genocide, Israel this, Israel that, it boosts our engagement like absolutely crazy.
Keep going, guys.
Absolutely crazy.
Amazing.
And the
Keep
funniest thing about this is that all these comments and all these campaigns we get and all the money we actually make, we pay taxes to Israel, which helps fund Israel to then send rockets to Gaza. You know,
That's true.
A win is a win. I love when I have like an affiliate marketing campaign or like a brander that's like paying per views, because I'll post something controversial and then everyone starts hating. I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and tag this little link in there too, especially on Twitter. And then everybody starts clicking the link and viewing it. And I'm just like, you just ran on my check. So you know what you did? You funded my next trip to Israel. Thank you.
That's gross. That's yucky.
Like,
That's
dude,
very yucky.
Tell me you're not a literal demon without telling me. I mean, it's it's literally like watching the Hunger Games. Like, if you were to pull up a clip from the movie The Hunger Games where the Capitol people are like joking and laughing and like kind of, you know, just going on about the situation while these freaking people are like killing each other in killing fields. That's exactly what this is. It's insane to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does make me wonder though, like, do they believe, because everyone who does bad things throughout history, right, they always believe they were doing the right thing. There's been, I don't know how, like, there's been very few people throughout the history of humanity that have just been, I'm going to be the evil person rubbing my hands together and I'm going to destroy the world for destruction's sake, you know, and like they know what they're doing is bad, but they're doing it anyway because it's bad. You know, like these people that we look at as villains, they are doing what they think is maybe not right, but at least what they're either preserving their own self, they're protecting the people that they care about, they are eliminating what they view to be a threat. And I'm not trying to defend any of this in any way, shape, or form. But
no, I understand.
The question that I'm asking is like,
yeah,
because you and I look at it and we're like, wow, that's really, really messed up. But
Right.
but what do they think when they're saying that? Do they truly think that they're taking out terrorists and like that's, because if that's their perspective and that's what they think is happening, then it's like, okay, well, they're kind of just like Americans 20 years ago, like just thinking that they're taking out the terrorists,
Yeah, it's hard, dude, because you don't have any of the other videos, and I don't know if you can pull those up either, but like the other videos that they've made are just to me, it's like even if you thought you were in the right place, right? Like even if you thought you were on the right side and defending the right people, even if you believe that with every fiber of your being, right? It's still to me is inhumane to be in what the world considers a war zone, an active war zone, right? Like Israel's constantly talking about how they need to defend themselves from rockets, right? And yet here you are in Tel Aviv having golden hour meet and greets and sipping your margaritas and literally posting videos and dance parties and just like living it up like there's nothing happening around you.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, yeah, sure. Maybe you do believe you're on the right side of history, but you're still an absolute piece of shit for doing that and acting the way you are in a place like that. Knowing what's going on the other side and still being able to do that, to me, that's inhumane. To me, that's like,
sure. Yeah.
I mean, you care about one thing and it's the mighty dollar. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
it's not even,
just sitting there saying, you're funding by stoking the fires of division, you are putting money in my pocket and funding my next vacation to Tel Aviv is, regardless, like you said, if you think that Israel's doing the right thing, you're still profiting off of war, you're still profiting off of conflict, you're still, regardless if you think the conflict is justified, you're still profiting off the death of human beings. And
you're 100%. And you're doing it based off of chaos and hatred and vitriol, right? Like you're basically saying, I'm totally fine with all the hate and all the chaos and all the vitriol in the world, as long as it creates enough engagement for me to be able to fly to Israel and have a party in an active war zone while people are suffering and starving and dying. Like,
right. If you were to just be saying what you think and the natural consequence of that is hatred and vitriol and division.
Yeah, that's different.
But if you are inviting it and celebrating it for the purpose of monetary gain, then you are a piece of shit.
Well, and dude, it just goes to show you that like, I'm constantly talking about how these people really do only care about engagement. Like they don't actually care about their followers. They don't care about who is following them. Even the people that agree with them and support them or whatever, they don't actually care about those people, because if they did, he would not be saying this. I mean, he is literally proving the point. That is the smoking gun. That is literally him and these other influencers saying, you guys are not people to us. You are just engagement. Whether you're good or bad, it doesn't matter. Your engagement and your money.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of these influencers look at these people, especially
not even in just the political sphere. It's all over the place. It's just the mentality of people who aspire to be influencers in any way, shape, or form. But again, it goes back to the intent. If you were just saying what you thought and the natural consequence of that is you gain a following, that's one thing. But if you are pursuing it, if you're pursuing political notoriety, if you're pursuing notoriety in the political sphere, I don't know why my camera's so blurry. I'm trying to, but
I thought maybe you were like I thought you were looking at something.
No, it's just going out of focus. There it is. Pursuing notoriety in the political sphere alone is very gay, and
for lack of better words, yes, it's very gay.
It just is very gay. Like it's
very gay.
It's one thing to say what you're thinking, but it's another thing to say what's going to stir the pot for the sake of stirring the pot, for the sake of getting followers, for the sake of getting brand deals, for the sake of lining your own pockets.
Well, and the worst part about this specific situation is it's not just about brand deals and money. It's also about status and invites to the White House and invites to the political parties and the PAC parties. And like, yes, the money and everything is also a huge part of that, right? But it's for people like him, for people like Xavier, and for people like these other influencers, so much of it is also about self-grandization. It's like self-promotion and the need to have constant validation from outside sources, from outside forces that like mean absolutely nothing to you, right? I mean, you don't pose on a tank in an active war zone if you're not looking for attention, right? Like, that's not something you just do because it's like, oh, I'm going to support Israel. That's not supporting Israel. That's literally just asking for attention. And once again, just being a massive piece of shit. Imagine having to tell your kids one day that while all of this was happening, because I do believe that in the future, we are going to find out that this is probably one of the biggest and most horrific genocides in history. And I think time is going to reveal itself or reveal what this is. And I think, there's going to be a lot of people on the wrong side of history. Imagine not only being on the wrong side of history, but having to tell your kids that you posed on a tank while it was happening.
That was meant to kill women and children.
Yeah, literally. That was meant to roll into towns and kill women and children. Like, wild, dude. I mean, these people don't like, I really don't think they have, it's just, it's crazy, man, But anyway, so that whole thing blew up and like they're back now. And it's interesting because every single post they put out, you can tell that it's a very calculated propaganda, a propaganda mission. I mean, every single video is almost identical. They're talking about all the main talking points. They're basically trying to disprove all the stuff on social media, saying that it's just, Hamas propaganda and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it's all the same talking points and every single video is almost identical, but they are getting absolutely leveled in the comments. Leveled. The only ones that are supporting them, you can tell, are bots or whatever, or just like super crazy extreme Zionists. But for the most part, the large majority of people are just like, this ain't it. Like, and they're feeling it. To the point where I actually just heard through a really reliable source that has absolutely no reason to lie to me about it. They have reached out to, I forget the name of the organization, but it's an organization by Israel that basically they have reached out and said, hey, we need help to set up like a debate or something with the opposing side here. Like all these influencers that are just trashing us, help us to create this thing where we can set up a debate and get some of our like following back. So they're scrambling, dude. And I know this, by the way, because they actually reached out to me and asked me to be on it. And I was like, absolutely not. Because that they're just trying to get these people that are actually on the right side of history to walk into a lion's den. You're never going to get anywhere in a round table debate discussion with people like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. It's going to be nothing but theater rather than actual truth. But anyway, so that's all happening. And like Officer Tatum, dude, he's one of the biggest ones right now. Every single post is about Israel. And it's like, dude, when the hell did you start caring about Israel to the point where you're like defending it with your dying breath?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen so much garbage from him over the last week or two, just running defense for Israel. And it's just, there's no other explanation other than someone told him to do it.
Correct.
You don't just naturally, organically, all of a sudden decide that you're just going to defend this other country with every single thing you have and put your entire reputation on the line. No. The rational thing to do would be to see what's going on and be like, let me see how this plays out. Yeah, like what's, start interviewing some people from both sides. It's like, no, you are staunchly like
directly going after one side. Yes. Yeah, it's very obvious, very blatant, and just crazy to watch. But this is the thing though. This is the swamp. right? We talk about the swamp. We talk about draining the swamp. Like this is the modern day swamp. I mean, in the past, it was all the, the politicians that got in, and now they're like freaking 80 years old. But it's like, this is the next generation of swamp.
Oh, for sure.
These are the kind of people that would get into office and 100% F over the rest of the country if it was in their best interest. And if it paid enough. Like, they don't care about people. They care about their pocketbooks. They care about their status.
They're not sitting in Congress. They are sitting behind a microphone.
Yeah, they're couch quarterbacks. Yeah.
Yep. That's the only difference. They possess all the same character traits. They probably had good intentions when they started, but they allowed money and status to corrupt them to the point now where they're just a hollow vessel for whatever propaganda campaign is the flavor of the month. And
do you think it gets to a point where they eventually realize that they have become that hollow, kind of nothingness that just has to bend to every will that they're now, subject to? Like, I think of like a David Harris Jr., right? He worked so hard to get that position. And then once he got the position, if everybody was paying attention, he tried to leave multiple times. Like, there were multiple news reports about David Harris Jr. is going to leave. He's stepping down. It was like multiple times. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, he's staying. And then if you watch the interviews of him when, like, after the fact, dude, the guy looks like a shell of a person. He does not sound like himself. He's not carrying himself like he was before. I mean, he's always been a freaking grifter, but like, there's a noticeable difference in his demeanor. And I wonder if he's just one of those people that's like a perfect example of like, you sold your soul, bro, and now you're stuck.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a real thing. Selling your soul, and that you can see that in a person. You can look into their eyes and see just a lack of consciousness, a lack of confidence,
Yeah, for sure.
Dead eyes.
Dead eyes, yeah. Well, we should probably like do some kind of intro or something. We just kind of went into it, but thanks everybody for being here. We skipped, I don't know, 5 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 4 weeks, but
that's life, man.
Yeah.
And by the way, it wasn't just because of one of us. Both of us were like, each week it was like, yeah, I can't make it this week, man.
Yeah.
Vacation, family. That's how it goes, man.
Life. It is what it is.
Life. But
that's a lesson for everybody here. You can't spend your entire life paying attention to politics, and you got to live life too, and do what you can to live a normal life with all the craziness going on, because at the end of the day, dust to dust, it doesn't matter. So
yeah, and there's definitely you definitely need to be able to unplug,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, you can drive yourself crazy with this stuff.
Yep. 100%.
Been there.
It was good. I mean, dude, how was it for you? It was good for me to be able to kind of get away and just get in. I mean, I barely had service for a few days, and like it was great, man. We had a great time as family. So how was yours?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. I mean, I go up to Boston once a year I go up multiple times a year, but we do one long trip where it's, just kind of that unplugging. I still work. I still, got things to do, but I don't, I'm not making content. I'm posting content that I made prior, but I'm not like actively making new things. I'm just kind of recharging, and it's very nice. So yeah, it was good.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about first? Shooting?
Yeah. I mean, let's do it. I'm just posting this up really quick. I'm going to post it because my phone was dying. So I put it in charger for a minute, but I'm going to post it on my story, and then, let's get into it. I mean, another one,
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I guess we can give the backstory on the whole thing.
Yeah. For those people that don't know.
I forget the name of the school. It was Annunciation or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a Christian, like
Minneapolis. It was a Catholic school.
Yep.
Let me try to find the name of the school. We should have had it off the top of the dome, but
that's all right.
It's So some Catholic school in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Basically some transgender individual they were in church, right? So there's Catholic school, but they were actually in the church having mass. And this transgender individual who's, you know what, we won't show his face. We won't be those people or say his name. But this transgender individual sprayed pepper spray through the stained glass windows on the side of the church and then shot up the school, injuring, I believe it was 20 people.
20 kids.
Yeah.
Killing 2, injured 20. Yeah, man.
Yep. So, So where do you want to start with this?
I mean, look, this is the thing, right? Whenever something like this happens, there's always that sentiment of like, okay, you need to be respectful to the lives that were lost, which I 100% agree with. I think you definitely need to recognize that every single tragedy like this it's a tragedy. It should never happen. It's not okay for innocent people to suffer like that. But at the same time, you know, I'm also in the camp where it's like, you have to talk about this and you have to talk about the root of the problem, because there's a lot to it, right? I'm everybody's favorite conspiracy theorist, and I personally believe that they cherry pick these people. I think a mentally unstable trans person that is leaning towards extremism.
Is there any such thing as a mentally stable trans person?
Probably no, there's not. Good point. There is not. That is the correct statement. No.
All right.
I would just say according to society, right? But yes, let's just say that, like a trans person, someone who is very confused as to who they are, what they are, you know, already from the get has that much confusion and that much chaos and depression and anxiety in their life, right? Like they are the perfect candidate for MK Ultra and to be tapped by our government for these false flag attempts and things that stir up the public and create the chaos they need to be able to push these agendas. And wouldn't you know it, one of the things that's going around all over online is the fact that on his gun, there was a bunch of stuff written about, you guessed it, anti-Semitism and Israel, right? And so you have all the activists, obviously, that are like, this is what we're fighting for. This is what all of the groypers don't understand, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, wrong. That is not what drives somebody to kill a bunch of people. And by the way, it wasn't just that. He had all kinds of stuff written on his gun. He had anti-Trump stuff written on his gun. Yeah, I don't know if you have those pictures, but
yeah, I do. I'm trying to find. I was looking for this particular one.
So it's a freaking journal. Like, look at how much stuff is on his gun.
I don't know what half of it's saying, but this up here on the site, it says "Kill Trump Now." It says "Burn Israel," obviously, right there.
What does that one say? Destroy
each. I don't know.
Highest?
I'm not sure what that says, but there appears to be some stuff written in Russian on the next to the magwell.
Oh, yep.
I don't know what this other stuff is. Sol Pais, cane bread, McVeigh.
Sol Pais means sun country in Spanish. I don't know if that's what he was trying to say. There's a bird or an owl or something. Yeah. Looks like
maybe that's what is that? What's the thing? The owl.
Oh yeah, the occult symbol.
Yeah.
Yep. Are there more pictures, or was that the only one?
No, I got more.
But obviously, this person is very disturbed, right? Sure. While you bring that up, I'm just going to say this: like the problem that we have, and we, you know, people say this all the time. I've said this for very long. Yeah, look, there you go. So that's another one that people have been pulling out. 6 million wasn't enough, right? Born to shit, forced to what?
Born to shit, forced to.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, the issue is freaking mental health, man. That's the issue. The issue is mental health in this country. Almost every single, if not every single one of these, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but like every single one of these shootings happens with these people that are so incredibly mentally disturbed. And we don't have a problem with guns in this country. We have a problem with mentally unstable people who have access to guns.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean, that's the, to me, that goes without saying. I mean, you don't follow, somebody doesn't follow us and sits there and thinks that guns are the problem. Well, you're not that stupid.
right, it's a tool.
Yeah. So really the question to me is why this person, why those sayings on his weapon, and why now? That's what I'm thinking about.
Right. Which is what I just said as far as look, it's my opinion that The Manchurian Candidate is a freaking documentary. Have you seen that movie? Have you seen The Manchurian Candidate? Oh, you should go watch that movie. That's a great movie. Denzel Washington. Awesome movie. It's about MK Ultra. It's about how they basically create these assassins and people that are just willing to do the bidding of the government to create these false flags in order to push policy and create wars and everything. It's a great movie, dude. You for sure should watch that movie. But to me, it was a documentary because so much of it is like, I mean, call it conspiracy all you want, man, but we still don't even know anything about the guy that supposedly was trying to take out Trump. Like,
right.
think about that for a minute, right? Like, we have more information on this guy that happened today than we do on the guy. How long ago was Butler?
Oh, that was July 24.
Yeah. We still don't have a clue who that guy was. And everybody's just kind of moved on. It's like, they went into his home. They found
it was Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Iran. But the anti-Semite, no, we got all the information on that guy.
Of course. So, yeah, it's like, I personally believe that there is a very real possibility that these events are staged and that
I wouldn't say stage is a scary word. I would go with orchestrated.
Yeah, orchestrated. That's a better word.
Stage
right.
makes it sound like, oh, that didn't that the kids, that was
yeah. Sorry, you're right. Orchestrated is the right word. Yeah. Orchestrated, because the kids absolutely did suffer, and it is a very real situation, and all these situations are real, and these people really do get hurt, and it's horrific. But yeah, orchestrated is definitely a better word. I do believe that there's a strong possibility these things are orchestrated, and they're done for the purpose of continuing to. I mean, it's a lot of different things. I don't even think it's like one thing anymore. I used to think that maybe it was just the one thing, but there's so many different things. What's that?
What do you mean by that? You used to think it was just the one thing?
I used to think that the false flags were so geared towards creating one outcome, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to now, I've started to realize, what I've come to believe is that they actually are creating multiple outcomes.
Which, for sure.
Which is
think about it from like a business perspective, right?
Yeah.
You think about, okay, well, let's make this move that does this one thing, or we could make this move that does three of these things,
right,
that we're also trying to accomplish. It might not complete all three objectives, but at least moves the ball down the field.
Correct.
For these three things. So like in this instance, the two that I can immediately point to, I guess the three that I can immediately point to is obviously anti-Semitism, pushing that narrative. Gun control is another one. And I think depending on how you frame this in terms of who was involved in the orchestration of it, you could argue that it's putting the trans narrative in a bad position, sort of framing trans people as insane, all that type of stuff, because the what's the word I'm looking for? The Free Palestine narrative is largely associated with the left right now, even though you and I both know that that's not necessarily the case, because you have the Groypers, you have the Fuentes crowd, and Candace Owens is, the Tucker Carlson's to a bit of a degree, but largely I think to more boomer types it is associated with the left, because really the only people that are buying the pro-Israel bullshit is boomers at this point.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and influencers.
and bought and paid for influencers and
Exactly.
And
well, are they falling for it, or are they justifying it?
Yeah,
so that
they're
they
being
can-
paid. I mean,
Right.
self-proclaimed. And here's the thing. This is the other thing that's important to understand. Like, I do believe that there's a lot of false narratives out there about people, quote unquote, being paid actual money by Israel, by Qatar. Like, you know, there was stuff going around about Ian Carroll getting paid by Qatar for so long. And it was so laughable to me because I know the guy personally, and he literally lives out of his van with his dog. Like, the guy is. So anyway, it was funny to see that perspective. But here's the thing. Payment is not just in the form of money. And that's what people need to understand, especially with these influencers. These influencers, to them, even if they have to pay part of their way to go to Israel, the circles they're getting in, the hands that they're shaking, and the influence that they're creating, not with your followers, but with the people they're with, is it's sometimes far more valuable than any kind of money. And people that have influence understand this. Like, you and I understand this too, right? There's been times where I have straight up paid to get in the room with certain people, right? I'll admit it. I've done it probably once or twice, like throughout my career, because I knew that I'm good at networking. I knew that I'm good at making introductions and like meeting people, and I'm not going to just be some like weird, fly on the wall. So like, I knew that I could actually make the connection that I was trying to make. And to me, it was like, when am I ever going to get this opportunity again?
Yeah, I
right?
mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with that.
No,
There's nothing inherently wrong with paying to go to, let's say, an event where this person's going to be at, and you can provide value to them in a way that's going to open doors for you. That's just being smart and being strategic.
right.
Where you have problems is when you are purporting things to be false so that you can gain the benefits on the back end for yourself.
Correct.
And you are promoting things that lead to the suffering and death of human beings so that you can gain the benefits for yourself on the back end. Simply fronting money to gain access to a group of people is not
It's
not
smart. It's
right,
smart business and networking. Like that's
Right.
not but you're right. It's when you know that
And
you're
that's
doing
probably
it.
how they justify it.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm getting at is like, these people are actually justifying this because to them, when I say that people are bought and paid for, I guess this is kind of what I'm trying to put forward is when I say that these influencers are bought and paid for, everybody immediately thinks that I'm saying they're taking a check from Israel, that they're getting a monthly, retainer for posting content or whatever. But that's not the case. For so many of these influencers, some of them are, but for so many of these influencers, right? The status and the recognition and the hands that they're shaking and the rooms that they're getting in and the people that are now going to say, oh, these are allies for us, blah, blah, blah. Like, that to them is far more valuable than getting a monthly retainer. And it's also because they're playing a game where they believe that monthly retainer eventually will come along with everything else, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately money is driving it, but it's not necessarily the engine right now. And I want people to understand that, because it's easy to discredit anybody that says, oh, these people are bought and paid for, because you're like, how do you know that? And it's like, we're not just talking about money. We're talking about any form of value that you could give to someone like a Xavier, right? Like, money is not the only thing you can buy this guy with.
Right. No, it's true.
And probably not the most powerful thing either. That's what I'm saying. Like, these guys, again, going back to, you pose on a tank because you care not about money. It's because you care about what people think about you. It's because you care about your status. So you're trying to get attention, right?
Yeah. I mean, and it can go the other way too. And you don't know how many of these people are blackmailed into doing the things that they're doing. You don't know how many of these people are who have put themselves in they have fallen into the trap of trying to climb the ladder, trying to climb the status ladder in the political world, that they end up in a position where their hands are tied because, they end up knowing the wrong people, and those people know too much about them. And then now you're in a position where you're being coerced to do certain things.
Correct.
So I mean, it could be they're getting paid. It could be they're being promised certain things like status or access to people or connections or whatever. And it could be that they're being coerced in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure there's a lot of different, because what do you give somebody who already has money? Well, let's look at Donald Trump. You probably can't buy him with money. You probably can't, like, I don't need the money. So what do you offer him? Well,
right.
If you're Israel, let's say, for example, when it comes to the putting him back in the presidency, and obviously we're operating under the assumption that elections aren't real and presidents are selected. When you go to a Donald Trump, you don't say, oh, well, we're going to pay you this much to, be the president. It's like, no, you offer him the status, the glory, the praise, the legacy, right? Like, that's what you offer him, because that's what he cares about, So just piggybacking off your point.
Well, no, and it makes perfect sense. It's kind of like we kind of went in a circle, but it's true. Like, it's going back to what we said about how these influencers, these upcoming influencers, are truly the modern day swamp. Like the politicians that are going out, the ones that are 70, 80 years old, that swamp is dying and the new swamp is emerging. And it's showing because it's the same qualities. They have the same qualities that these career politicians have. They don't actually care about people. They care about money, fame, status, and access. And that's it.
And they're arguably more powerful, because when you have somebody,
they are far more powerful. And that's what's scary, especially with AI.
When you have in the 90s, let's say, you had a politician, they had to buy the vote, not literally, they had to persuade the people, the voter base, to vote for them under the pretense that they were going to do the right thing once they got in office. That was the sale. But now you can do it to where you can literally use social media and these influencers to manipulate people into believing that the wrong thing is actually the right thing. So they're voting. They're not just, you're not lying to their face and saying, oh, we're going to keep marriage between a man and a woman. And it's going to be, it's going to be good old classic America. And then they go in there and they do the opposite. It is, we're going to utilize social media to convince you that your values are actually incorrect, and you're going to vote for the things that we are going to end up pushing forth in our agenda, which are immoral, wrong. They convince people that up is down and down is up.
Well, and the other thing too is because we're such an attention-driven society and such a chaos-driven society that these influencers, it's like we said, again, it's going back to what we said in the beginning for anybody that's just joining. Like, when you are purposely, creating chaos and hatred and vitriol in your comment sections so that you get engagement in order to move up the chain, right? In order to continue to build your following or whatever, like, that is showing that you do not care about any of the people that are following you. And so what these people are in essence doing is they're capitalizing on trends. They're capitalizing on awful, horrific topics just because they know it's what's going to get people riled up. And then the problem is people get riled up and they allow their emotions to trick them into believing a certain narrative and like you said, that's what creates the up is down and down is up thing. Right. And, yeah, it's sick. It's sick, man. It's awful. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Back to the shooting.
Back to the shooting.
The shooting. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how we got onto that subject, but basically the long and short of it is these things are, you could argue whether or not they are premeditated. You could argue whether or not they are orchestrated, but what you cannot argue is it will not be capitalized on. That you can bet your bottom dollar that whoever is pulling the strings is going to be taking advantage of this, either because
you mean that it will be capitalized on. Then
that's what you're saying. It will be
capitalized on. Yes,
right. That that those that are pulling the strings are going to use this to their advantage to push their narrative along, either because they are the ones that put it in place, or it was just a happy accident that they are going to use to their benefit. But
yeah, I heard
that this was not a happy accident, because there's been too many happy accidents at the exact right time that it's just like that thought experiment where it's like, okay, if I was trying to push the narrative that people are anti-Semitic so that I could put in, whatever type of law to punish this type of behavior, what would I need? Well, how about killing some kids, and having your manifesto read 6 million wasn't enough. Reading burn Israel. That would be actually really convenient if that's what you were trying to accomplish.
Yep.
So,
but that's not what's happening, Matt.
No.
That's a conspiracy, dude. That's not what's happening.
That is a conspiracy. That is
it just happens. It just happens to be a perfect scenario. And that's what, that's what's funny is it's really ironic too. It's such an ironic thing because I mean, now they're going to push this narrative of this guy was anti-Semitic because he said 6 million wasn't enough, talking about the Holocaust or whatever, right? And then you have what could potentially be considered a literal Holocaust that's happening in the Middle East, where kids and women are being killed every single day at mass, and it's like, or starving to death, and it's just it's such a backwards world, dude.
Right,
and it's
and
crazy
that's the irony of it, because I'm sure there are going to be people that hear us talk about this or hear others talk about it and be like, "You're being disrespectful to the families that lost children." It's like, you literally haven't given a shit about the fact that tens of thousands of women and children are being murdered every single day. And it's all awful. It's all terrible, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about it and wonder whether or not there are ulterior motives behind these kinds, because we can't, it's such a cop-out to say that. It's such a cop-out to be like, oh,
it's a redirect is what it is.
Talking about it is disrespectful to the families that lost loved ones. It's like, okay, so when somebody gets murdered, do you not try to look for who did it? Do you not try to look for why they did it? Do you not try to look for who was associated or who was involved or what caused it?
Yeah, I look at it in the same way as there's been a couple times where I've gotten into a debate or I've heard it online or whatever. Almost every single time that you bring up the starving and dying kids in Gaza, one of the main talking points, as far as like the defense goes, as far as the pro-Zionist position goes, is they immediately redirect and say, well, why don't you care about all the kids that are dying in Africa? Or how about all the kids that have been murdered in Syria or Sudan or whatever? And it's like, no, that is a complete redirect. It's not relevant. Like, you saying that just because I'm not talking about this situation it discredits the fact that I'm talking about this one is the most retarded take of all time. Like, all you're doing is redirecting so that the attention is not on the topic that you don't want the attention to be on.
Right.
And that's exactly what happens with this. When people say, oh, like, have a heart, focus on the victims first, right? Like, why are you going to talk about this? And it's like, as I said at the beginning, you absolutely should be focused on the victims, and you should absolutely recognize this for what it is, which is a horrific tragedy. And no one is discrediting that, right? There were lives lost, and there are families that will now never see their children again. And that is absolutely horrific in any situation for any people. But it is absolutely important that we say, why did this happen? Right? Because again, the narrative that'll be spun is, oh, it was just an anti-Semitic hate. Well, no, it wasn't. It was mental instability and the combination of probably a lot of drugs. That's always the case, right? There's always some kind of narcotics or opiates or something included in that, antidepressants, whatever. And a very, very confused individual. That's what it came down to. And it's not a right or a left thing. The right and the left should both be able to look at that and say, yeah, this is a very confused individual that decided to take the lives of other people, and it's not okay. It's wrong. But now why is it that it just seems like it's so perfectly put together to create a certain narrative that sure would help the situation that's happening right now and give people a leg up on the.
Yeah, I mean, if there was nothing on the
conflict.
gun, if there was nothing talking about anti-Semitism,
Might be different.
right, it would be a totally different thing. If there was no mentions of anything, no manifesto, no, the person wasn't. It was just a mentally unstable person that did a horrible thing. Then we would be like, wow, that was a mentally unstable person that did a horrible thing, and that's all the conversation would be. At least in the middle and on the right. On the left, it would be guns. But the reality is, the inscripted onto the weapon was sentiment,
blatant messages
that the mainstream is trying to make look insane. They're trying to associate anti-Semitism or just criticism of Israel with insanity.
That's right.
That's the association.
Not just insanity, evil.
Right.
And
right.
Don't get me wrong. To me, a person that decides to take children's lives is evil. So
for sure,
that's why it makes sense, right? If you put a sticker on somebody who's already evil, and that becomes their billboard, well, whatever they're advertising is also probably evil, right?
Yeah, exactly.
By association.
Right. And again, it is highly speculative and just an assumption and not even a serious take for me to sit here and say that that the government sent that person to go kill those kids. That's not what we're saying. We have no evidence to support that. But it is highly convenient that a very evil and a very crazy person went and did something while wearing on their sleeve, not literally, but like figuratively, the exact messaging, the exact ideology, and the exact sentiment that the mainstream and the government and those in power are already trying to associate with evil and insanity.
Yes, exactly.
So that's exactly right. That's the parallel that's being drawn here. Nobody's saying, oh, it didn't actually happen. Oh, it was all staged. Oh, the government, Donald Trump sent that person to go kill those kids. Oh, that person was mind controlled by the government. Nobody has any evidence to say that. All we're saying is it's mighty interesting that those things happened at this time with that stuff on the gun.
Yes. The like kind of the far out there conspiracy would be that this was orchestrated by the government, that they put this into place, that it was all kind of part of it, that Mossad was in on it, blah, 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 blah. Right. That's the far like conspiracy. But the more palpable conspiracy would just simply be that this happened and they took advantage of the situation. I was actually just listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Dave Smith. It was a really good episode. And it was interesting because they were talking about 9/11. And, so many of the 9/11 conspiracy theorists hitched their wagon to the, I don't know if it was a memo or what, but basically it was the whole thing where the Bush administration was saying, we won't be able to create this war in the Middle East without another Pearl Harbor style event. Like that's a real thing. It really is there, right? It's in the writing, it's in the memo or whatever it is. I forget what it's called, but anyway, what Dave says is basically like, this is what a lot of conspiracy theorists say. Basically, they put it in writing and then they did it. But what Dave says is, he says to me, there's a higher probability that this happened. And yes, it was a conspiracy. And yes, like it was definitely orchestrated. I mean, at this point, if you don't think 9/11 was orchestrated, you're freaking off your rocker, in my opinion. Like there's way too many coincidences, way too many inconsistencies. It doesn't make sense that it wasn't. But he says there's a possibility that the people in the Bush administration didn't actually have all the information and that some of the intelligence agencies were largely behind it or whatever, right? And so he says there's a possibility that it just happened and they were like, hey, This is what we need. So now let's capitalize on it, right?
Right.
And I think that there's a little bit of that in everything. I think that there's a lot of situations with some of these conspiracy theories where there's a higher probability that the situation was capitalized on rather than completely premeditated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think one way or the other, there's more going on here than just some crazy guy did some crazy thing. And there's like whatever the official narrative is
wrong
in any of these events.
Yeah.
It is never just that. It
No.
is never just that. It might not be as far as the wild conspiracy theorists like to say. It's like the people that say that, that birds aren't real, like those people. Like it might not be whatever they're saying
Wait,
either.
you believe birds are real, Matt?
I plead the fifth on the bird conversation. I'm not educated enough on. I don't know the lore on the birds aren't real.
Well,
like
I mean, I don't know, man.
Earth.
My dog killed a bird the other day and it looked pretty real. So
yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't been around too many birds.
I mean, dude, the Chinese do have bird drones. That is a real thing.
Hey, look, it could very well be the case that some birds are not real. I'm not saying all birds aren't real.
Some of those pigeons in New York are looking awfully suspicious.
Some might not be real. But anyway, yeah. The
truth is in the middle. The truth is in the middle.
You can't sit there and be like, yeah, the official well, the government said this is what happened, so that must be what happened. It's like you literally have no brain. And then the vice versa. It's like, Hillary Clinton personally went to this guy's house and used the thing from Men in Black to make him forget everything and turned him gay, and then dropped him off at the church. Like,
yeah,
no, that didn't happen either. Like,
no,
it is. It definitely something sketchy's going on, but it also could have been at least partially random. And
yeah.
You know what? Yeah. It very well could be, and this is a possibility too. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying it's a possibility. You want to talk about how something you could take what is a completely random situation and capitalize on it. You could have some trans weirdo go into a church and kill a bunch of people, and then FBI shows up with a bunch of Sharpies.
So that's what I was saying.
Real.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because like let's talk about this for a minute. Are there any videos of the shooting happening? Are there any, like, did anybody catch him with the gun in the act? Did anybody see the actual gun? Did anybody see the writing on the gun when it was happening? Because I don't think anybody saw the gun when it was happening.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I meant when I said that. I just realized this will probably work too. You still hear me? We good?
Yep.
When I said that there was a greater possibility, in my opinion, that they capitalized on this situation rather than like completely set it up and orchestrated it or whatever, that's more what I was referring to. It wasn't like it was like, how easy would it be for them to be like, oh crap, this is what we need right now. Right? Like, right. But we're just conspiracy theorists, guys. We're not saying that's what's happening.
There are many, many possibilities, but I think the least likely one is that some random person went in and did some random thing, and that was it.
Yeah, that's definitely the least likely, for sure. 100%.
So,
but yeah, so that's, I mean, I agree. I think that's my take on it too. And I mean,
there's absolutely some funny business in some way, shape, or form. I don't know whose funny business it is, but there's something funny going on, and you can't deny that.
Yeah, and more will come out, I'm sure. But
yeah,
I mean, because the gun's based. Well, from what I hear, there was a manifesto, but like for most people, that gun is going to be his manifesto, right? And it's just so interesting that some of these shooters have manifestos and some of them don't. And the ones that always do are the ones that we know the least about and the situation about it. It's just always an interesting thing.
Did we ever find out about the Nashville shooters manifesto?
I don't think so.
No. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that.
No. So
that one probably didn't help any narratives or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to our last topic. So the last topic, and this is one that I think you said you weren't like super aware of because you were in, just experiencing life and enjoying life. But Tom Alexandrovich, our boy Tommy, he got caught in a sting operation for child sex trafficking and abuse in Vegas, along with, I believe it was 8 other people. And the really interesting thing about this is that all of those people, but Tommy Boy, they are in jail awaiting sentence as we speak. But Tommy Boy, he was able to retrieve his passport and hightail it back to Israel because Tommy is also the head of cybersecurity for Israel. He's literally Netanyahu's right-hand man for cybersecurity. This is the guy that submits claims on X and social media platforms when people are, quote unquote, going against community guidelines or spreading hate speech, specifically towards Israel. And I think it said that he has had, since he started, I think it said that he has had 40,000 accounts taken down or something like that. So this is the guy in charge of censoring us and making sure that people are not wrong speaking. And yet here he is diddling kids in Vegas. 15-year-old kid. He got caught with a 15-year-old kid. The cop posed as a 15-year-old kid. But it gets deeper than that. And this is the part that I think we should talk about too, because I didn't talk about this yet. Look up the attorney or the, who was it? Whoever it was that let him off. She was chosen by Trump and she is a super staunch Zionist.
Sigal Chattah, U.S. attorney for Nevada, a Trump-appointed Israeli-born official, announced that her office will not prosecute Israeli child predator suspect Tom Alexandrovich, leaving the case in the hands of the local district attorney.
Yep. And if you look up her tweets, so if you, I don't have them, but if you look up the tweets that she's made in the past, there's some pretty interesting ones.
Let me Sigal Chattah.
And so it's just like, man, that's weird. That's really weird. Right. But the other thing that people need to know is, and what is it called? There's some kind of clause.
Are you talking about the stuff about Gaza?
It probably is. Yeah. It's probably stuff about Gaza. She's basically super, super Zionist.
Yeah. I mean, she says here, no statehood ever for these animals. Netanyahu needs to start acting like a Churchill instead of a Chamberlain and wipe Gaza off the map.
Yep, that would be it. So that's the lady that let this child predator off scot-free and sent him back to Israel, where he can now, which by the way, he is very much still in the position that he was in before. He has not been fired. He is still in charge of cybersecurity for Israel.
Look,
So hold on. Let me say one thing because this is important to this whole thing.
Go ahead.
There's I forget what it's called, but there's some kind of clause that Israel has that basically makes it so that it has become like a haven for child predators, specifically fleeing from the United States. I forget what it's called. I put it in a video. It's an actual term. And because of this specific clause that they have, if you are Jewish and you live in the United States, you can seek asylum basically in Israel. Like you can go to Israel and then you can you evade prosecution basically from the United States. I forget what it's called. It's like
from U.S. can't be prosecuted.
It's. I want to say it's like.
I'm chat GPTing this.
Yeah, see what it says. There's a specific term. There's a specific clause like.
Chat GPT is immediately saying that it's not real.
Okay. It's absolutely real. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on a second.
If an Israeli citizen commits a crime in the United States, they can be prosecuted under U.S. law. U.S. courts have jurisdiction over crimes committed in the U.S. soil, regardless of the offender's nationality. Wait.
Type this in.
Israelis from U.S. if they seek asylum in Israel. I
was just going to say, type in child predators seeking asylum in Israel, and it'll give you the whole breakdown of the conspiracy theory. There was an organization that was set up a while back that literally tracked how many child predators had left the United States and fled to Israel. And there were some like really prominent ones. I made a full reel about it, and it's like 8 minutes long. It's on my page, but I forget what it was called. It's not narrative control.
ChatGPT is just saying no.
Hold on a second. Let me find it. I will find it in 3 seconds. Give me a minute.
All right.
ChatGPT. You can keep talking while I do this.
Let me find it in 3 seconds. Just give me a minute.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So Israel. How about them Israelis, eh?
Yeah.
Drop a 1 in the chat if you.
Law of return. It's the law of return.
The law of return.
It's called the law of return. So this is what it says. The law, it sounds like you're referring to the topic of extradition laws and certain international legal agreements that may follow individuals accused of crimes such as child predators to seek refuge in Israel. Israel has a law of return which grants Jews worldwide the right to immigrate and obtain Israeli citizenship. However, this law has sometimes been used by individuals trying to flee persecution or extradition requests from other countries, as Israel has limited extradition agreements with some nations. There have been cases where individuals facing serious criminal charges in other countries, specifically with child sex crimes, have moved to Israel, though Israel typically does extradite criminals in cases where the crimes are considered serious or involved other countries' citizens. So,
I mean, that doesn't sound like all child predators can run to Israel, and not all Jewish child predators can run to Israel and be protected.
No, it's just been done. It's just been done enough times that now it has become like a common thing. Yes, a common thing that people try to do. And so with this situation with Tommy Boy, right? It's like, okay, because he clearly got caught. Like, it's not a question. So here's the other thing too, right? There is another side to this that people could look at. That's a potential. That's a very like small possibility in my opinion, but it is something that has crossed my mind, right? It's like, okay, well, what if Tom was intelligence, right? What if he was actually a bug? What if he was a freaking informant? What if they were using him to draw the rest in or whatever? Like, that's the only potential argument that I can even think of and come up with in order to like justify or explain this at all, because he was clearly caught trying to get a 15-year-old to sleep with him. Right. So, it's like, to me, it's pretty black and white. And, anyway, so that happened and it just kind of got swept under the rug. Like, nobody's talking about it. It's not on the mainstream media.
I mean, well,
barely hit mainstream news.
That's become a thing lately where we're not allowed to talk about pedophiles. We're not allowed to talk about child trafficking or, diddling kids. We're not allowed to talk about that. That doesn't happen. It's not real. It's fake and gay. And there
was no Epstein files and no blackmail. And Clinton was not on the island.
There was no, and I did not have sexual relations with that child.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Upside down world, man.
Yep. It's all
Meanwhile, that next topic, that next pesky topic, Israel apologized again. Don't worry, guys. They apologized. They said, we're sorry. It was an accident, but they triple tapped a medical center, bombed a medical center. I think I want to say they killed like, I don't know the exact number. You'd have to look it up, but I think it was like 16 people or something like that. There was like 5 journalists. 2 of them were American for Reuters and AP. So more journalists killed that were documenting the whole situation, right? Because foreign journalists are not allowed to go into Gaza at all, but the journalists that are in Gaza somehow keep on getting killed. Like 120 something or 130 something journalists now are dead since the conflict started in October 8th or whatever. So what happened was, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they bombed the hospital. And it's technically a medical center, right? It's the Nasira or something like that. But anyway, bombed the hospital. And then as people were going in to rescue anybody who had been bombed, they bombed them again. And the second time they bombed them, So then they bombed him again, and then the journalists were coming in, right? And they're doing more rescue, but now the journalists are taking pictures and videos and stuff, right? And they bombed him again. And why did they bomb him? They said it was because they saw a Hamas camera. And I'm not kidding, you cannot make this up. They literally said, we saw a Hamas camera. That's why we bombed it. Come to find out, after the fact, the Israeli government, the IDF, they admitted that it was wrong, and they apologized. Netanyahu apologized. Isn't that nice? He said, hey, we're so sorry. We try not to hit civilians, but sometimes.
Yeah, those darn Hamas.
Yeah, there
those
you go.
Darn Hamas cameras. They're just making me kill children.
Hey, did you hear Bill Burr's stand up about this? It's actually so funny. Yeah. You got
to work around that.
Yeah, it's like if you got to work around that. Like, that's not an excuse.
If I hate
that's
my
not
neighbor
an excuse.
and I want to punch him in the face, and he holds up a baby. Am I just going to punch him through the baby? No. I got to work around that.
Oh man, it's so funny, dude. It's so dumb, but it's so funny. But yeah, anyway, so like in addition to that, right? So in addition to the fact that they're bombing hospitals and getting away with it and killing journalists and getting away with it, and yet everything that comes out of that place is, according to these Zionists and according to these influencers and according to Israel, it's just propaganda, dude. So basically everybody but the Israeli government and the IDF, everyone else but the people that stand to gain the most from lying about this are lying. Everyone, the humanitarian groups, all the UN, all the other countries, all the foreign leaders, all the influencers that are actually speaking out about it, all the journalists, all the civilians, everyone else is lying except for the people that have to gain that stand to gain the most from it. They're the ones that are telling the truth.
Honestly, what I'm just surprised about at this point is like Hitler would have had it so easy if he just said, "Oopsie." Oopsie, I forgot. Sorry I killed all those Jews. 6 million. Oops. Sorry.
Dude,
there was
what's so ironic though is, think about this, right? All of these people, all of these pro-Zionist people and pro-Israel people that are like all up in arms about everybody who speaks against Israel is Hamas propaganda and terrorist sympathizers. Every single one of these people lose their ever-loving minds when you even question a small detail about the Holocaust. If you even question just like a tiny detail, right? They lose their minds. They call you anti-Semitic. They call you hateful. They call you evil. They call you blah, 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 right? And yet here they are advocating for the exact same thing that all of us are basically saying, hey, this is what's happening. And they are the ones now that are being the real-time revisionists. The real-time revisionists who usually attack the revisionists are now defending their place and thinking that they're on the right side of history. It is insane to me. Like, every time I talk about this, I get so pissed because I'm like, how can you be so stupid? But then I remember that people wore a mask on their face thinking they were afraid of the air for 2 years. So it's like, I don't have a lot of faith left in humanity. I mean, dude, it's just crazy to me. Like,
I might need another 2-week vacation after this conversation.
Yeah, same, dude.
One week of paying attention again, and I'm ready for another break.
I mean, dude, it's staring them in the face, man. Like, Gaza is an ashtray. Like, and anybody that can see it sees that, right? Like, it's an absolute ashtray. All of the people have been huddled into this tiny little section. They're being bombed daily, almost daily. All the journalists are being killed. They are absolutely starving people. Like, all of this is like, okay, is there some propaganda? Yeah, for sure. I see pictures and videos that I'm like, oh, that's Hamas propaganda. Like, there's no question in my mind. It's like, he obviously staged that. The guy's moving on the ground, or it looks like the kid, like, even to the point where I've seen pictures and videos where I'm like, that kid is bawling their eyes out. But in my mind, I'm like, this doesn't seem right. There's a dang good chance, in my opinion, that this is just the kid crying because they got scared by the person who's trying to like create this situation, right? Like anybody with a good conscience can kind of sift through the dirt to find the gold, to understand like, okay, this is real. This is not. This is a real reaction. This is an orchestrated one, right? And so it's like, okay, even if there is some propaganda, which I do believe there is, I think that there's probably a lot of propaganda coming out of there from Hamas, from, pro-Palestinian, whatever. And that's a real thing. Even if that's the case, though, there is zero chance that all of it is propaganda. Zero. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, so there's propaganda. There's still people starving, and there's still people that are being bombed. And there's still people without limbs, and there's still people eating food off the dirt, and there's still a completely leveled nation. Like, that's all very real. So let's just talk about the things that we know are real, but that's not what these people want to do. They want to just lump it all into one big blob of propaganda. Oh, it's all fake. It's all wrong. We are the ones that are right. This is we are just defending our turf.
It's a greater. It's the same thing as during COVID when they said the greater good. It's like, well,
isn't that interesting? Greater good, greater Israel.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's definitely the same word. But it is to me, it's very analogous because you have a situation where everything's being destroyed and they just keep saying, well, Hamas, well, terrorists, well, they're coming for America next. It's like, okay, if Hamas could not hold America's jockstrap, like, let's be real here. Oh, death to America, as if they're going to do anything to America.
No. And that's just a classic thing of like, they've created that boogeyman, right? It's like, dude, I actually saw a really good breakdown. It was actually a perfect breakdown of this argument of people that say that we need to denuclearize Iran. Why does Iran need nukes? Blah, 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 right? Is that they said, well, the reason why Iran would want nukes is because every single nation that is bordering Israel has been in a conflict with Israel.
Yes.
Like,
that's exactly what.
Every single one of them has been destabilized or attacked by Israel and by the United States. Right. So it makes absolute sense that Iran would want a nuclear weapon, because why is it that these superpowers haven't been in a nuclear war yet? Well, it's really simple. It's because all of us have nukes. It's the idea of mutual destruction, right? Mutual destruction, mutual annihilation is what stops nuclear war from happening. It's the fact that if we bomb you, you're going to bomb us. Like, it's very, very simple, right? And so it was a great breakdown, because it's like, that's why Iran wants a nuclear weapon. And so I'm not saying it's okay for them to have nukes, but at the same time, it's kind of like, maybe it kind of is, because Israel has a bunch of nukes. Why is it okay for them to have a bunch of nukes, right?
But
nobody ever wants to talk about that.
The last guy that told them not to got, boomed.
But here's the thing. It's like, what's really happening is they're creating this boogeyman, right? Yeah. Iran, the terrorists. It's all about the terroriorists, and it's like, dude,
it's the same old song and dance as it was 20 years ago after 9/11.
They don't even have the freaking ability to get a missile across. Like, there's no way that they could do anything to us. Could they bomb our military bases? Yeah, absolutely. But that's not going to happen. And it's like, this whole thing, once again, is just, it's another freaking Afghanistan, Iraq thing. And by the way, I said this like 2 weeks ago when everybody was getting on me about not wanting to bomb Israel or Iran and not wanting to get involved in another conflict. Oh, we gotta be able to help our allies and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And I said, yeah, but see, here's the thing. This is not the end of it. We will be dragged into a war with Iran. That's going to happen, because eventually you're going to find out that Iran is Israel's next target. It always has been. And sure enough, they just announced that they're going to move on Iran again. It's slowly but surely, but it's happening, right? Greater Israel is not a conspiracy theory anymore. They've outwardly talked about it now. And we are going to get pulled into it. And it's like, it's all based on this ridiculous false concept of this boogeyman of terrorism that's going to attack the United States. And it's like, no, No,
Nope.
you know, but you know,
I
it goes.
got a hard stop because I got to go get my kid.
Oh shoot, that's right. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. All good, man. Well, hey, it was a good conversation. I'm for everybody that joined. Thanks for joining. I think it was a good conversation. We covered a lot of stuff. Let's go have another 2-week break.
No, we'll be back next week.
Yeah, buddy.
All
All right, man. Go get your kid. I'll see you later.
All right. Take care.
See you guys.